Howdy, partners. Um, Been a little while. It's been almost a week since I've made one, so haven't been feeling all that well. It happens, even to the best of us. Um, Wanted to check in on my week 5 picks. Week 4 went fairly well. I went 11-4. I'm now at 33-12-1 when you aggregate weeks 2, 3, and 4 together. Getting a little verklempt. Yeah. So I'm going to run through these really, really quick. Probably a little light on commentary as these teams are starting to become a little bit more about what they are. Thursday night game tonight is the Buccaneers and the Bears. Even though the Bears have found their starting quarterback, they don't have an awful lot on offense for him to utilize. Buccaneers are finding their excuse me, they're finding themselves a little bit. So Tampa Bay is gonna take this on the road. Buccaneers over the Bears. Sunday in the early games, the Rams, they might be Munchausen syndrome, I think, or imposter complex, something of that nature. They haven't really played anybody, and they look good from a standpoint of their record. But they haven't really played anybody. But the Fighting Ron Riveras are going to be starting Allen, and they're just not ready for prime time yet. They're going to be good because Ron Rivera. But at this point, the Rams, once again, thanks to the scheduling gods, are going on the road to face an inferior team. So the Rams are going to be over the artists formerly known as the Redskins on the road. The Bengals are going to Baltimore to play the Ravens. This one's a wild card a little bit. Lamar Jackson's missed 2 straight games or two straight days of practice. I think he'll be fine to play on Sunday, and I still think even with a backup quarterback, they have enough to beat the Bengals. But however, if Jackson doesn't play, Bengals are going to keep it close. They've been natural enemies and rivals, but Joe Burrow is going to get them to be a lot better in the second half of the season. You can just feel it. So this could be a close game if in fact we don't see Lamar Jackson getting in to the game, or he's just not himself. So we'll see how that happens. Bills and Titans, if they in fact play, thanks to the Titans flouting the coronavirus standards. Not sure how what you got to do to get through to some of these meatheads, but when you have something that can be passed from one person to another with no symptoms, and prior to a positive test, could you wear a freaking mask? Are you that stupid? I mean, it's not that hard. I mean, you paid millions of dollars, right? Really? So they may end up having to forfeit this game. We're going to see what happens. If they in fact play it, I'm going to call the Bills Mafia on this one anyway. Bills are going to go on the road to Nashville, and they're going to win, by at least one score. 7, maybe 10 points. I'm not calling the spread anyway, but just going to say that they're going to do well. So I think the Bills go into Nashville if in fact they play and win on the road. I'm picking a few roadies this week. Cardinals. As tough as it is to watch them play sometimes, they're turning the ball over and everything else. They're going to go play the dumpster fire of New Jersey, also known as the Jets. So we're going to take the Cardinals on the road. Joe Flacco will be starting for the Jets, but the problem is the Jets still having the rest of the roster is also going to be playing. So Joe Flacco has no chance. If he wins, it's a miracle. It's just an absolute miracle. Or the Cardinals just completely laid an egg. But if they play anywhere near where they're supposed to be playing, Cardinals take this rather handily. Eagles are going to come up and play the Steelers. Eagles are still pretty limp here at this point. Steelers They're rested, and they have a pretty ferocious defense. I'm going to take the Steelers at home. Jaguars are going to play the now Bill O'Brien-less Texans, now coached by Romeo Crennel. A lot in flux here, but the problems still remain. There still are very few targets, offensive firepower for Deshaun Watson. Jaguars are going to take this. The Fighting Minshew's are going to probably eke out a one score win here. Margin, not 7-6 or something. Panthers, they're starting to put it together. I mean, Matt Rule, he's gone beyond what I thought he was going to be able to do at this point of the season. And they're going to go down to Atlanta, or over to Atlanta. No, it's down. I think it's down, or it's out, or it's sideways. Let's play Geography B, shall we? Anyway, I take the Panthers on the road. The Falcons couldn't even get a lead to blow last week. They probably will have a lead to blow this week, and they'll blow it. And I believe this really will be the end of their head coach. I think Dan Quinn is very likely to get the rest of the season off and come back as a defensive coordinator, which is where he belongs. He doesn't belong to be a head coach at this point. Ever since the Super Bowl, he choked, and his staff choked, and it's been obvious that something's wrong ever since. Think the world of him. I think he's a great DC. I think he could be an excellent defensive coordinator, just like Del Rio is. Some people just aren't meant to be the CEO of a team. There's a lot to it. There really is. Raiders are going to go to Arrowhead, and they're going to play the Chiefs. And there'll be a smattering of fans, because that's what they're doing out there. I'm going to go counter to what a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are going, Chiefs anointed, yay, bow down, kiss his ring. I'm not doing that yet. The Chiefs have not played consistently. Now, the Walrus, Reed, is a good coach. He's a great coach. And he's going to get them peaking at the right time. But they have kept teams in games so far this season that they shouldn't have. And I will say last week, Hoyer of the Patriots, Hoyer moved the ball pretty well, let alone Stidham. So I think this is going to be a shootout. And given the pressure the Raiders are under, given given that a couple of these players could be coming back, I think Ruggs is back, it's going to make a big deal. I think the Raiders are going to eke one out on the road in a shootout. This one I have low conviction of, but I have a feeling, and I'm not calling it as a homer. I'm a Raiders fan. I will tell you that right now, because I'm a Chucky fan. But I think very much that this could happen. Derek Carr is playing at a very high level. He gets a couple of his weapons back. It makes a big difference to have a field stretcher. Defense gets one more week to try to figure out how not to look like they're playing Pop Warner football. And it could happen. And it needs to just happen just a little bit. And I got to tell you, the first half of each game that the Chiefs have been playing, they haven't shown up till the second half. They do that against Carr. With the way the defense is playing, there's the potential they could be down a bit. And, I mean, the Raiders are not exactly the Falcons. They don't have a great defense, but they don't just give up three touchdown leads. So if they get out on them, there's a good chance they're going to hold it. At least hold the lead, not hold the whole lead. Not like they're going to get up by 21 and hold it to 21. They might hold a 7 to 10 point win. They'll have enough. So we'll see. We'll see. I could easily be wrong on this one. Sunday late games. Dolphins are going to go to play the 49ers. They really need Garoppolo back. I think the Dolphins can hang with them for a little while, especially if Mullins is still the starter. And I believe he will be this Sunday. You just don't know if Fitzmagic is gonna be on point, or if he's gonna play like a fish out of water. Get it? Dolphins, fish out of water. Crack myself up. All right, so I'm gonna take the 49ers at home. Broncos against the Patriots. I think Stidham's going to be your quarterback now until Cam Newton is back, and the Broncos are the ghost of Rippon's past. Mark Rippon used to be the quarterback for the Washington Redskins when they were really good in the 1990s. I think it's his son or it's his cousin. I don't know what the relation is, but there's a relation there. It's not going to be enough for the Broncos to beat the Patriots in Foxborough. Okay, if it's in Denver, it's a different story. I think this is going to be a fairly tight game, but I think that the Patriots win this one. I think Stidham, when all you're going to do is do a 3-step drop, throw it in the flat, throw a slant, you're making 10 to 12-yard throws in rhythm. I think he can handle that. He's not as bad as he looks. Being a rookie, Colts are going to play the Brownie Scouts. Brownie Scouts are starting to play better. They actually won a shootout with the Cowgirls last week, and who don't have a running game. And we'll talk about how that happened when we get to the Cowboys. Cowgirls, I like that one. I think the Colts have probably the number one defense. They probably will end up with the number one defense. They're doing very, very well. The turnovers are starting to get tamped down on offense. I think the Colts go in and they throttle Cleveland fairly well. Probably a 2-score game. The G-men are going to go to Big D. They're going to play the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys are going to win this one. Now, if you're wondering what's wrong with their running game, remember that Zeke Elliott had COVID. He may be one of these long haulers. He's having a really hard time with the symptoms. This may be what Zeke Elliott is now. So without him, this is not a playoff team, except in the NFC East. So we'll see what happens. Last 2 games, Vikings are going to go play the Seahawks. Seahawks big in that one. And then Monday night, the Chargers are going to play the Saints. And I believe the Saints are going to be fairly dominant in that game. Enjoy the games. Like, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Love you guys.